From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Debate in Washington on how border taxes should be handled. Cronkite News takes a look at what D.C. lawmakers are thinking.
Plus, a different type of rehabilitation through state prisons. How this program helps inmates find a purpose through horses.
And NASA reveals a major find in a nearby star system. What this means for the future of astronomy.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Veronica Acosta.
And I'm Anthony Mitchell. Thank you for joining us. President Trump is sending the U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and the Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly to Mexico. House Speaker Paul Ryan is already at the border. Paul Ryan is keeping his promise to maintain relations with Mexico by visiting the border town of McAllen, Texas. This is Ryan's first trip to the border. He decided to tour the area by horseback and on a boat. As the international relationships is under consideration, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer explained the administration has its own opinion of Mexico.
I would argue that we have a very healthy and robust relationship with the Mexican government and Mexican officials, and I think they would echo that same sentiment. President Peña Nieto has echoed that as well, but I think the relationship with Mexico is phenomenal right now, and I think there's an unbelievable and robust dialogue between our two nations.
32 people would have been held on courtesy holds for ICE were released from Maricopa County jails since Friday. Federal agents did not pick them up, according to both MCSO and ICE officials. Maricopa County Attorney Bill Montgomery took questions today on President Trump's new immigration policy and the focus of state law enforcement. The county attorney made it clear that everyone should continue to be able to cooperate with law enforcement regardless of immigration status, if they are a victim of a crime or witness a crime. He also spoke about ICE and the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office need for good communication when it comes to the transfer of illegal immigrants.
Investigations into someone's immigration status are secondary to criminal investigations, and interacting with people who are victims of crime or witnesses to crime is the paramount focus for law enforcement and holding offenders accountable. So that's going to be the focus regardless of what happens going forward.
Tribal officials in the Tohono O'odham Nation have released a video stating their opposition to President Donald Trump's proposed wall on the Arizona-Mexico border. Officials say the video reiterates the Tohono O'odham Nation's commitment to continuing working with federal, state, and local agencies on border security measures with a proven record of success. The nation's reservation includes 75 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border. Officials believe the proposed wall would further split the tribe in half and could have dramatic cultural and environmental impacts, among other things.
The time is up for protesters to move off of the Dakota Access Pipeline site. Police have begun arresting those who refuse to leave. Protesters were given until 2 p.m. Central Time today to clean up their camping areas and leave. Some opposers of the pipeline burned their temporary living quarters.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to take care of their structures because they don't have time to move them. You know, I mean, with the mud down here, you know, it's hard to get through, and I know that they probably would have needed some heavy machinery to move those big structures, and like I said, we're just out of time.
Law enforcement was ready to make some arrests. However, most officials were expecting a calm evacuation of the area. A new camp is being set up by the Cheyenne River Sioux. A final march filled with chants and drums represented the end of protests that lasted nearly a year. A Navajo power plant may soon be under new ownership. The Navajo Transitional Energy Company is discussing buying a stake of the Four Corners power plant, according to the Daily Times. NTEC is a Navajo-owned company which owns a sole coal supplier of the plant.
From replacing Obamacare to tax reform, the Trump administration has plenty of issues on its plate. One part of the tax reform plan, called border adjustment, has caused contentious debate amongst lawmakers and business leaders. Cronkite reporter Z Zung brings us the latest from Washington.
With President Trump in the White House, Republicans see a once-in-a-generation opportunity to fix what many call a broken tax code.
A public that is sick of the current tax code. They're tired of the complexity. It's unfair, it's costly, it's lots of special tax breaks for some and nothing but headaches for them.
Besides lowering taxes for corporations and individuals, Another important component of the tax plan is the so-called border adjustment tax.
Right now, the U.S. income tax taxes businesses based on where they produce. A border adjustment is a way of modifying the income tax so that it taxes businesses based on where they sell.
The Tax Foundation estimates that border adjustment tax would bring in over $1 trillion for the federal government in over 10 years, while having limited effect on businesses.
The textbook theories expect this to be a wash, that the stronger dollar will offset both the benefits to exporters and the potential harms to importers.
But theory doesn't always turn out the way it is supposed to. And that has Jack Lunsford, CEO of Arizona Small Business Association, worried.
I think I'm concerned partly because the strength of the proposal as it appears has a lot to do with economic theory, that somehow the rise in the U.S. dollar would offset higher taxes on companies. You know, that's theoretical. We all know that economic theory can vary based on conditions and other variables.
Some analysts say if the dollar does not rise enough, the border adjustment tax will act more like a tariff, and that will leave big retailers that rely on imports, like Target, in a very hostile business environment.
Right, because they now have to pay the import tariff, and they're not compensated for that with a dollar appreciation that makes their money go further.
As for now, Voiger said repeal and replace Obamacare should be the priority for the GOP. But House Speaker Paul Ryan said he's committed to make tax reform happen. In Washington, D.C., Zi Zeng, Cronkite News.
The border adjustment tax is unusual in another way. While most taxes are ultimately passed on to consumers, expert told us there are too many factors in play to say for sure if that would happen. President Trump is expected to release his opinion on tax reform in 2 weeks, and concrete legislation can take effect later this year.
The American Cancer Society and Cancer Action Network had its annual Awareness Day on the Capitol's front lawn. Reporter Joe Constantine was there to talk with activists and survivors.
Cancer centers, legislators, volunteers, and survivors all gathered on the Capitol's front lawn today for a day of speakers, conversations, and messages to the legislators. Last year alone, more than 800 Arizonans lost their lives to breast cancer. Better screening with the help of 3D technology may be able to reduce those numbers in the future.
For 2D mammogram, you get about 4 images. With 3D, you get almost 60 images. Less callbacks for the patients, better detection, especially with patients with dense breasts.
For over 10 years, people have been meeting on the Capitol's front lawn for cancer awareness. Today's goal in particular is to gain support for bills that they believe could lower the cancer rates in Arizona.
Cancer is the leading cause of death in the state of Arizona. More than 12,000 people, it's estimated, will pass away from cancer this year. And there are policies that we can implement that will help drive that number down.
A current House bill that would no longer allow minors to use tanning beds is one bill in particular that survivors like Linda Sinonian are fighting for.
And I was one of the ones that was asked to come to the House of Representatives here and talk about skin cancer and what it means, and young women and men that get in these tanning booths. And we really, really need to pray and support that the Senate passes the bill.
Another bill to raise the age to purchase tobacco to 21 has been recently killed. But after today, activists hope to get legislators back to the drawing board. At the state capitol, Joe Constantine, Cronkite News.
The House bill on prohibiting minors from tanning bed use passed through the Senate second reading on Monday. The future is bright after 3 Arizona middle schoolers won a national competition.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how these kids built a city for the future and gained valuable experience.
Plus, how 3 engineers are trying to encourage Navajo students to go into STEM fields.
I'm Scott Pelley, anchor and managing editor of the CBS Evening News. In our changing media landscape, it is crucial for journalism education to ensure a commitment to the truth, unbiased reporting, strong ethics, unwavering fairness, and above all else, accuracy. These are the hallmarks of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. It's a place where students can innovate and transform the news industry while always upholding the values of the school's namesake. The Cronkite School at ASU, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Discover so much more at azpbs.org/schedule, where it's easier than ever to find out what's on Arizona PBS. Access interactive digital and printable program guides, repeat times, and full episode descriptions. Watch program previews of best bets for the coming week. Search by title to find your favorite shows. You can even add programs to your calendar and get email reminders when they're about to start. It's easier than ever to find out what's on Arizona PBS. Discover so much more at azpbs.org/schedule. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online.
A bill to require coding in K-12 schools has passed the Arizona Senate. If made a law, public and charter schools would be required to provide a 1-hour computer coding class. Students would have to take the class once between the 4th and 12th grades. Senator John Kavanaugh, who sponsored the bill, says he wants to expose kids to coding as a viable career option. The bill will now go to the House for a vote.
3 Arizona middle schoolers won big at this year's Future City competition in Washington, D.C. Reporter Maricela Ramirez got a look at the futuristic model of Quito, Ecuador, that won them 2nd place out of 40 teams.
Arizona! This year's Future City Challenge is exactly what it sounds like. It challenges middle schoolers to imagine, design, and build ideal cities for the future. These Arizona students focused on transforming the public spaces of Quito, Ecuador.
One reason that we chose Quito is that since this year is public spaces, we wanted to make sure that we had a place that had less of problems with just public spaces or just the public in general. So we realized that Quito had lots of slums in its city, so that's probably the reason why we chose it.
They spent over 6 months brainstorming, researching, designing, and building their future version of Quito as Reviquito.
So we converted all of our roadways in our city, and we could do that because of our aerial transportation, into bike paths, walk paths, with glow-in-the-dark pathways, solar canopies, and it rains a lot in Quito, aquaponic gardens, and then at old intersections, we added feature parks, which could be anything from like a green belt to a recreation center.
Future City representatives said this competition is valuable on multiple platforms and teaches kids to create, work in teams, and see math and science as important to their future.
I just think it's awesome to come here. I think you're going to do public speaking, learn about engineers, careers, get to talk to all these professionals, and it's a lot more than you can explain in a quick interview on how much you learn in Future City.
The kids felt the overall experience of being able to present their work to professionals was the real victory, but felt excited for going from 5th place last year to 2nd place this year.
So we got this trophy, super cool trophy,
and $5,000 donated to our school's STEM education system.
Yeah.
Reporting in Washington, Maricela Ramirez, Cronkite News.
3 student researchers are breaking the stigma for Navajo women engineers at ASU. Cronkite News reporter Cassidy McDonald traveled to ASU's Polytechnic campus to learn about a brand new program helping Navajo students pursue careers in engineering.
Researcher Aisha Anderson says a key step to creating diversity in engineering is through a program called Engineering Design Across Navajo Culture, Community, and Society, offered at ASU's Polytechnic campus.
There's just a huge gap between male and female. Women need to have a stronger presence in an engineering program.
Anderson says they are working to develop a curriculum to encourage middle school Navajo students to pursue careers in engineering.
If I was at a younger age and someone had let me know that this is part of your culture, then I would be like, oh yeah, of course I can be an engineer, instead of be intimidated by it.
Another student in the program, Courtney Batoni, focuses on mechanical engineering and says many students are surprised to see how their culture has already taught them some of these skills.
How would a Navajo traditional house would be made, or the process of weaving a rug. So they say, like, okay, I have already been doing engineering.
Dr. Sean Jordan and his team conduct all of their research at ASU's Polytechnic campus at the STEAM Lab, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Math. Dr. Sean Jordan helps lead the team and says it was inspired by Navajo students who invented science fair projects that blended in elements of their culture.
And use it to create engineering design curriculum for Navajo that teaches both engineering design and Navajo culture.
However, Anderson feels another important aspect is emphasizing to women that they too can be engineers.
I didn't realize I was experiencing those feelings of isolation, being a female and being a minority, until I was further into my studies.
In the future, the team hopes the program can
can be used throughout all schools in Navajo Nation. In Mesa, Cassidy McDonald, Cronkite News.
Dr. Sean Jordan, who helped lead the program, was honored by the White House with the Presidential Early Career Award for scientists and engineers on the first day of classes this year.
Madison Camelview Elementary School Principal Hillary O'Brien received a great surprise today. She was named a Rodell Exemplary Principal for 2017.
You know, it means a lot for me personally. I work very hard, but it's not just about me. It's the school and the teachers and the students in the community.
A Rodell Exemplary Principal Award represents the best in the state of Arizona. They are selected through an intense nomination process for their efforts to inspire their staff, contribute to school-wide success, and the development of a school that is high-achieving, safe, and welcoming. O'Brien was selected from more than 1,800 principals statewide. She will now be part of a mentorship program that partners the winners of the award with aspiring principals in Arizona's high-risk schools. Athletes are always looking for new ways to improve their performance.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how a popular tech trend is helping runners bring their A game.
And we have warmer temperatures outside, but could cloudy skies indicate rain in our future? I'll have your full forecast coming up.
I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. All my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. Found my it's good to be alive right about now.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Keeping one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you
believe it? NASA announced the findings of not one, but 7 exoplanets orbiting a star 40 light years from Earth. 3 planets reside within the habitable zone of the star system. The star named TRAPPIST-1 is cool enough to allow planets to maintain liquid water in their atmospheres. This historic find will allow astronomers to study planets that could potentially harbor life. All 7 of the planets are similar to the size of Earth and contain greenhouse effects. After studying the star through the Spitzer telescope for over 500 hours, the evidence is strong for finding a world that can be habitable for humans and other life.
Tech companies are working to advance tracking aids for athletes in the Valley. Reporter Cassie Demarest looks into the buzz behind fitness trackers.
According to a forecast from the American College of Sports Medicine, the top fitness trend for 2017 is expected to be wearable technology, like activity trackers and smartwatches. Aside from just tracking steps, fitness trackers now have the ability to monitor location, heart rate, pace, and calories burned. Sean McManus, Director of Community Outreach at Soul Solutions in Scottsdale, said he recommends fitness trackers to athletes looking to increase their performance.
It seems now you can't really run without one. And maybe it's just the technology world that we live in, but having that data available to you 24/7 is really nice. It's very convenient, and I think in a world where if you really want to make significant improvements, it's really important to have that, just because again you can monitor it day to day.
Holly Ashby, a runner from Virginia who recently was in town to run the Rock and Roll Arizona Marathon, said her fitness tracker and smartwatch definitely impact her race preparation.
I became more conscious of how I was doing and what my cadence was for each mile, each minute.
So I felt like it really has helped push my training that much further.
Fitness trackers also have the option for reminders to get up and move to help users reach their daily step goal. McManus said the instant availability of data gives users a sense of competing with themselves.
You know, you're racing against yourself now, or maybe you're competing against yourself, or if you want to hit 10,000 steps a day and you see that you're at 8,000, you're going to go try to find that extra 2,000 steps, as opposed to before, you might not have even realized how close you were.
Other top fitness trends in the American College of Sports Medicine forecast: body weight training and high-intensity interval training. In Phoenix, I'm Casey Demarest, Cronkite News.
Evacuations have been ordered in San Jose, California because of major flooding in the area. The evacuation was issued yesterday at noon, and the urgency to leave the area is increasing as waters rise. People are packing up food, medication, and pets to move to the designated shelters. Over 500 buildings are being searched for those who have not left the area. 200 residents have been evacuated. Water levels have reached higher than 10 feet, touching the roofs of houses and completely submerging cars. Schools in San Jose are closed until further notice.
With severe flooding in California, could we see rain here in Arizona?
Lauren Hermberger is in the Weather Center with a look at your forecast.
That's right, there is a lot of rain in California, but we're just seeing clouds here in Arizona. And luckily for us, those clouds are going to dissipate into the evening, and then by tomorrow, we're going to see clear skies throughout the entire state and into the next few days. Also, good news for Southern California is they are going to be seeing clear skies as well into this weekend. As for your temperatures, we actually saw temperatures a lot hotter than we expected today. It's 83 right now in Gila Bend. It was up to 83 in Goodyear earlier. Right now, it's 78 there. And 76 in Phoenix, which is what we expected for your high today across the valley. As for tomorrow morning, we're going to see temperatures a little cooler than we have been the past few mornings. We're going to see 45 in Buckeye, 49 in Chandler, and 52 in Phoenix. So make sure you grab a jacket before you're on your way to work or school. As for the rest of your day tomorrow, it is going to be cooler out, 64, 63 degrees. And then we want to see into this weekend, we're going to see chance of rain with cloudy skies on Sunday and rain on Monday. Lauren Hornberger, Cronkite Weather.
Prisoners may spend years behind bars, but a new program is helping them get outside.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how a prison program in Florence is giving inmates new purpose with the help of some unlikely animals.
Heaven knows you're a dreamer. Don't hide it from anyone. Don't hide it from anyone. Would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life. This is what counts. This is for us. I will go anywhere for you.
A program in Florence is training horses and burros for adoption, but you'd be surprised by who is doing the training. Cronkite News reporter Chloe Ranshaw headed out to the ranch to find out more.
These ranchers had an unlikely start to training horses and burros. I met up with a few this morning just before their workday started at sunrise. For Leland Jacko, training horses is not a hobby, but a prison sentence for a felony he committed in 2012. And this ranch that houses 35 horses at a time is Arizona State Prison property.
When we're out here, it's a whole different world from being in there. You know, we get to actually come out here and you know, that we have a purpose out here. So
Around 20 inmates, all personally interviewed by head instructor Randy Helm, domesticate horses and burros in the program run by the Arizona State Corrections Department. Most inmates enter the program without any experience and stay until the end of their sentence.
They really have to make a commitment to the horse or the burro, and the relationship, if you will, really starts developing there. And, you know, they rely on us.
Burros like Marbles next to me here are overpopulated in the state of Arizona, and while this program helps inmates with their rehabilitation, it also helps wildlife as well and puts these animals to good use.
Whether that's individuals, trail riding horses, that's the primary function or primary adopter. Ranchers adopt quite a few, and of course Border Patrol adopts them as well.
Horses and burros cycle through the program. In a few days, Jacko will say goodbye as well.
Yeah, he gets to go home with me.
But not to his horse Tonto. Jacko will be adopting the horse himself.
As unfortunate as it may seem, coming to prison and stuff like that, this has probably been one of the better things that's happened to me in my life. You know, it just made me realize that there's still so much out there.
Jacko will be released after serving a 4-year, 6-month sentence next week.
In the past 5 years, Helm has seen only 2 inmates reincarcerated after completing his program. In the Broadcast Center, Chloe Ranshaw, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, Arizona Republican Congressman David Schweiker joins us in studio to discuss new deportation rules and other issues, and state lawmakers will join us for our weekly legislative update.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour. Our Betting on Trump series continues. We hear from voters in Erie, Pennsylvania. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.